All right, welcome back. If you've been watching the interviews I've been doing, I've been just doing a wide variety of interviews with creators, be they indie creators or whatever. So I put out some feelers for any interested creators on IndieWire, one of the Facebook groups that my friend creator James Whitting created, and I got a hit. And so with me, I have Mike. I'm sorry. I'll let you say your last name because I'll probably butcher it.
That's okay. Michael Mauro. Nothing. It's the Italian version, whereas the Irish
Okay.
version is, I think, Morrow.
And you're getting ready to kickstart your product, ATOM Bug, correct? Onslaught.
Correct. That's it. Correct. Onslaught's the trade paperback collection of issues 1 through 3.
All right. Well, before we get talking about that, let's talk a little bit about how you got into comics. Do you remember the first one you read? What got you hooked on comics, and what inspired you to make your own?
Sure. How the whole story began. Comic books are mainly picked up by people when they're a lot younger than us right now, the young audience, and picking up the colorful books, opening them up, and going, "Wow, I want to do that. And I want to become that. I want to fly." So to tickle your imagination, we usually pick them up when we're younger. I started off with Spider-Man, X-Men books, a lot of the late 80s, early 90s, more so 90s. That's when I really started getting into comic books. By that time, I was following Amazing Spider-Man. Mark Bagley was the penciler, and I don't think he did the inking, but it was Mark Bagley. Previous to that was Eric Larson. Previous to that, in the late 80s, was Todd McFarlane, one of my top role models. So it was funny because they were all on the Amazing Spider-Man comic book. And of course, it was Marvel's flagship title, but it just turned out that I just liked the artists that were associated with it. Afterwards, things became a little diluted, and I kind of fell off the bandwagon because the team wasn't necessarily the same. They started switching out a lot of different artists that weren't, McFarlane, Larson, and Bagley. And that's when I started getting into a little X-Men to mix things up. And then Image Comics, the Mass Defection, Marvel really took over. The whole dark anti-hero theme of Spawn, the real creative nature of Savage Dragon and other like-minded comics just further flooded the gates. And that was, I think, what do you call it, the golden age of the indie scene, if not the late 80s. So it was a good time because I was at that age to pick up a comic book and get interested. So with that, I'm currently in grad school with the Savannah College of Art and Design under the animation curriculum, animation program. So I'm doing this, I'm going the full route with this as a career choice. So I wasn't just, another kid that picked up comic books and then just did something else as I got older. I stuck with it. So these are my role models, and that's how I started, was with those books.
And so, how did you? Well, obviously, you said you were in the, going to school for this. So, what what was your influence, or what made you want to try to do something of your own?
That's the whole. I had a previous live stream just the other night about this, and ATOM Bug is compared very heavily, very similarly to Sonic the Hedgehog. I like to say it's Sonic the Hedgehog, but also Skylanders, and maybe a little bit of Spyro the Dragon thrown in there. Not necessarily maybe Crash Bandicoot, but a lot of video games of the 90s that I know you played, that we both grew up with. Fun titles. So, but the long story short, ATOM Bug was born out of a disagreement that I had with the Sonic the Hedgehog property. We grew up with a great series of video games, especially during the golden era of home console entertainment. So Sonic the Hedgehog was everywhere. He was the new hotness, and he was fast. He had a great theme going for him. It was original, and it was colorful. It was bright, and it was fun. Most of all, it was fun. So we grew up with this, and later down the line, things started becoming, they started losing their focus. So you had the comics by Archie. You know, I bought them. Don't get me wrong. First and foremost, I bought them. I've earned my opinion to tell the audience that they were terrible. I'm sorry. If you love them, you know, then you're missing out on the new IDW versions, which are awesome. But back then, the Archie comics were just cringe. The storylines were just, they pandered to kids, and I mean like little kids. Where I equated the early books from Archie to a coloring book, basically a step away from a coloring book in my last interview, which is a shame because it's a great license and they just didn't manage it quite well. Then the games started following suit. I don't know when the decline of the Sonic games was, but it was, I had already put them down because I just couldn't follow the storylines anymore. I was getting older and they didn't resonate with me. I needed something a little edgier, nothing crazy, nothing. I don't want Spawn appearing in Sonic. It doesn't work, but I do want something for, it would definitely not work. Although I buy it. As crazy as that sounds, I buy it. Spawn meets Sonic the Hedgehog. I would support this. But
there's been crazier crossovers.
Yeah, there have, and they're so wacky. They work. It's almost like a horror movie that's so bad it's good. That kind of phenomenon dynamic of something being so extreme that it just works in the end. But I'm in high school around this time, and I picked up a Sonic book. I remember I was in I think a Barnes and Noble in the 90s, and I picked up the latest Sonic comic, and I opened it, and I just looked at the book for the cover was all right, cover art, because that's what catches everyone's eye. Opened it up, read about 3 panels, and I just said, I can't force myself to read this. I can't do it. And that's when I moved on. So I thought, okay, there's nothing else like this. I'm going to just do it on myself. I'm going to do it myself. I'm going to make my own characters. I'm going to push the edge a little more and just make it so it's not such a cringe-worthy, childish storyline where I can enjoy it without wincing at forced humor that just did not resonate with me at the time. So ATOM Bug is a little more serious than Sonic. The plot points are pretty similar, and I've learned to embrace that. As I've said earlier, it's not really the good versus evil plot points, but it's how you tell the story in between. And that's where I have the opportunity to develop the characters, give them personalities, make them funny here where it's appropriate, make them serious there where it's needed. And as a result, there was this room for me in the market because they're still cute characters on the surface, but they don't have to necessarily be so cute that they stay, in the hands of readers from ages 6 to 10 and nothing else. So it's a lot more of a broad audience. A high schooler could pick up the book and go, "This is fun. This is action," and it's not cheesy. An adult could pick it up and say, "I like colorful art, and the story is decent. It's just a fun book that you can put down and say, great, when's the next issue?" So in that respect, I was able to take something that I wasn't happy with and just do it myself. So yeah, that was it. The license was born out of spite for Sonic. Although, not to bash Sonic too much, the movie that came out recently was phenomenal. I watched it. I went to the theater to see it. Me and the girlfriend went. We enjoyed it. It was fantastic. The new Sonic comic books by IDW, phenomenal. It's just that ATOM Bug at the time didn't have these options for it. So we're going 15, 20 years back before, they kind of really reinvigorated the license and really went back to basics. So especially the video games as well, they started falling down hard and they just forgot what made Sonic the Hedgehog good. I just took that and, spun things to where I had my own IP.
So kind of, I know you've written you've done 3 issues of ATOM Bug. So can you give us just a synopsis of the story that the 3 issues cover, or the main story, or anything that you want to say about that?
Yeah, general overview, sure. The defendants are the name given to the survivors of Proton Planet. It's their home microplanet in a galaxy far, far away, not to copy Star Wars, but it's in a different time, a different place. We don't know if the characters are 18 feet tall or a little microbial size, but they exist in another dimensional universe, if you will. But they inhabit Proton Planet. Life is good. The other world has arrived. They're not nice. They're an imperialistic race that basically hops from one planet to another to take things and spin them their way. And they begin what's called a shadow form of the planet. They're changing the atmosphere and really making life miserable for the original inhabitants, now known as defendants. So I know if anybody's thinking, you know, this plot has been done before. Yeah, it has. It's an older plot, but it's how I tell the story in between that makes it unique. And I do have a lot of fresh material that will be up and coming in the later issues. But at its core, you know, there's nothing wrong with saying it's, you know, typical of good versus evil, survival. But in the sense of paralleling Sonic, it really is about just, you know, survival. Although Sonic the Hedgehog will never bring up words like, you know, survival, extinction, stuff like that. Those words may be a little too thick, a little too heavy for a Sonic comic book. Although I've read some books where they've really come up with some odd ways to describe the plot, and I just didn't know what I was reading at one point in time. Archie, not IDW. They've got their act together. But so yeah, they really do. It's good work from the artists to the writing, everything. But when it comes to the Otherworlders, they're space travelers. They're almost space pirates, if you will. But they like to take things over on a mass consumption level. What's good about it is they had a little issue getting to Proton Planet, and they don't necessarily have all the technology they wanted with them. So in a way, they crash landed, and as a result, not only are they stuck there, but they've only got the limited resources they brought with them to fulfill their conquest. And that's kind of what levels the playing field. So in terms of almost like video game mechanics, if you pit, you know, let's say the human race versus some, you know, technologically superior alien onslaught, if you will, to use the onslaught word, there's got to be a way to balance things out. Well, in my book, the antagonists from the beginning had issues getting to their conquest. They lost a lot of the technology, a lot of their numbers, weapons, and so forth. It really left them, they still have a big advantage over the defendants, but it levels the playing field, gives them a chance, and that's where I'm able to flesh out the story and have the defendants find creative ways to fend off these guys until they can hopefully come out of this, you know, swinging.
So how long does it take you to, you know, put together one issue? I mean, because you write the story and you do the art, correct? And you color and all that?
Yes and no. I tackled book one and virtually most of book two. I realized that, I mean, anybody that's interested in comics as an art form, besides just reading them, knows it's a lot of work. Sequential art and illustration is a massive undertaking, and when you have writing, the art, the coloring, and all the I don't want to say minor roles, but all the roles associated with the process, like the editing, the producing and printing, and the marketing, I could probably rattle on more roles that, you know, encompass just making a comic book. You know, a simple floppy comic book. You know, they've got teams of, I can't tell you how many, what is it, 6 to 10 people can work on a book at once just to make this work, especially if it's an ongoing series. But for just one issue, you need all these people. So for, virtually the first book and, well, definitely the first book and virtually the second book, I was basically one-man show. I wanted to get the ball rolling, and it was good to have control over everything just to start the series ignition phase. And for issue 3, I brought on a colorist. His name is Ariel Viola, and he does amazing work. He is able to take my artwork and just basically give it a level of depth that I don't think I can quite achieve. And if I could, I'd still be stuck on page 6. So it takes a while to do these things. And by issue 3, that's when I said, all right, I needed help. My girlfriend currently does the flats, and she does a phenomenal job. She loves the non, insanity, the work of just simply coloring the lines and making sure everything's laid out nice and properly. So she takes care of the flats, and the colorist goes from there and assists me with the depths, the lights, the shadows, the tonal values. And then from there, well, I get to finally take a breath of fresh air and get the book released. Roughly, I do about an issue a year at this point. Now, for anybody that says, that is slow, that is not enough, even for a 3-person team, you can definitely go faster. I got 2 words for you: grad school.
That's why, yeah, I went to grad school too, so I know that.
Oh, you know how it hurts, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah. So is this the first time or the first Kickstarter you've run?
No, it's not. In 2016, I had run a very small campaign for ATOM BUG issue 1. It was a very different version. It was how do I put this? I had a renaissance, if you will. That's what I call it. I learned a lot more in those 2 years, probably from just repetition, a little improving on, lights, darks, shading, and just overall handling sequential art in general. But in 2016, I guess I just wasn't quite there yet. The book was completed. It just didn't have the quality standards it does today. I had a lot of good supporters who came forth and said, no, this is good stuff. It's fun. If they saw the new version today, obviously it's oil and water in comparison. But I ran a successful Kickstarter in 2016 for an older version of ATOM BUG 1. I didn't really Kickstarter had been around for a while. The crowdfunding model started, I think, in 2008 during the recession, but it remained niche for a while, and I didn't really know all the ins and outs of running a Kickstarter campaign. It's a lot of work in itself. Remember, I brought up marketing, which is in itself a full-time position. So I ran the first one successfully. The second one, not so much. So I went back to the drawing board, no pun intended, and said, okay, what did I do right? What did I do wrong? And if I do come back to this funding model, what's it going to take? So I focused on the book, which is obviously first and foremost, the product is what matters. Above all else, I don't care how much you throw at marketing. If the product's not good, it's not going to stick. Even though you might fool your audience at first. I wanted this book to be good. So I went back and I redid everything, and I looked at and compared, I contrasted, and I waited, and I made sure I was happy. So, I was happy with the first book, but there was just a certain level of inexperience that I think I had to overcome before realizing, okay, it's good, but you can do better. And that was basically me telling myself that, I had a small measure of success, but I do need to pick up the pace a little bit and crank it up a notch or 3 to make sure that it stays successful. It is now 2020, and I have not done a Kickstarter since 2016, which is how long I've waited. Nothing's a guarantee, but this time around, I've got, 3 issues on the table, which is definitely enough to show anybody, hey, okay, this is a serious entry to an ongoing series. 10 issues are planned for this series. So I guess you could call it a mini series. 10 issues are planned, 3 are completed, the 4th one has already been started. So it's a lot of things I have that I didn't have in 2016 when I just had the one book. You need the buffer. Anybody that runs a webcomic knows you need the buffer. Things happen, but your audience, deserves to get their content on time. So yes, it's finally. I had run. Short answer is yeah. I had run a couple of Kickstarters a while back, but this time I feel I'm much more prepared. So nothing's a guarantee, but I think my chances are a lot better this time around. And if not, I can revisit that's the good thing about Kickstarter. If you fall down, you can just get right back up again. So we'll see how it goes when I launch on Monday and go from there.
Well, I think that's what a lot of people who have done multiple Kickstarters. They learn from the previous one, and that increases their chances of the next one being more successful.
Yeah.
So
it's also it's a living document, if you will. They're changing things, they're adding things, taking things away. Kickstarter right now may not be in the best place ever. Things have been, obviously, without mentioning things, there's been a lot going on this year.
What really?
A lot of challenges. Well, I tell you what, you know what? Thanks to grad school, I was living under a rock. It would be, you'd be surprised. There's what going on? I don't know. I've been living in my apartment on my workstation all day. I have no idea. Oh, and classes are virtual. Now I don't ever get to see the sun again. Yes, as a result, there's been a lot of challenges for everybody. So, but Kickstarter, if anything, I've heard that right now they need projects more than ever. I guess people are either not as productive as they should be at home, or they're still trying to finish their products and get the books out, or game, or whatever tabletop game that they're working on. But I've heard right now there's actually a shortage of Kickstarter projects. I could be wrong, but that's just a rumor mill.
Well, no, I also think it has to do with, the current economic situation. They're kind of, it's kind of they may see it as a kind of a more of a risk to go ahead and try to do it now. But that's just, something I've, from my, different discussions, it seems to be a theme too.
Sure. Why release something if the market's not really good, right? That's the thing. I don't think there's enough market research to support or debunk that. But either people are also home and they're bored.
Yeah.
So they're online a lot. So the more you can get something out there and say, hey, listen, I've got a Kickstarter. They may say, oh, guess what? I'm bored. I want to read something. Or I just, impulse. So it goes both ways. And I guess I'm going to be the guinea pig to find out. I'm the experiment, which is fine because it's it's not a guarantee any which way. There's the magic set of rules that people are looking for. Should I launch during the day? Should I launch during a weekday? What month? People are at work. People are at home. But if people are at home, is it sunny out and they're not on their computer?
Right.
Involved where it's just launch the thing and find out. If it's a good product, you got a fighting chance. If it's not, then I guess you better have a good marketing team.
Yeah. So, do you mind sharing what your goal for the Kickstarter is and what? The contributions will cover, and maybe a few rewards. Expectations. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a short Kickstarter. It's only 14 days. The Kickstarter I ran in 2016 was 30 days, a whole month, and I didn't feel it was necessary. There was a large flat line in the middle because everybody knows Kickstarters do their best at the beginning and at the end. And in the middle, there's kind of a dip. You have to keep your audience pumped, maybe add some new things to the mix, and just engage them in general. So in this case, it's a 3-issue trade paperback with extras, and 14 days should be enough, especially for a funding goal of $1,200. It's a really modest goal. It's not. I've done the numbers, and it's doable. We'll see. Obviously, I don't have a crystal ball. I can't say how I'm going to, react to this video in about 3 days. Where I'll go, yeah, I was right. See, or oh, I'm pleasantly surprised, or all right, I still have some work to do. I don't know, but the funding goal is realistic for the amount of interest I've been able to achieve, and if I've done my job correctly, it's a doable Kickstarter. It's just 2 weeks long because you don't want to drag it out at the same time. You don't want it to be a 3-day, 72-hour flash sale where nobody knew about it, and then give people a chance to go, oh, okay, this is going on now. Oh, I've still got some time, or I've been following this for a while and I know it's coming. So there's going to be a mix of all people, new and old fans, and that's what's good about this Kickstarter. Is it's good to hop on the bandwagon now because it's the first 3 issues. The floppies are still available. I've got them right here from just a large printing run that I've been gearing up for. I wanted to make those available as well. So the book is plentiful right now, and the floppies are also available on the Kickstarter. But it's a good time to start because people that like print comics, this is for them if they like ATOM Bug.
Cool. So where I'm showing the Kickstarter page right at this moment, which will go live on what time on Monday?
Monday, I'm thinking around 11.
Okay.
11 o'clock sounds about right, give or take.
Yep.
They're looking for that magical number. I don't have it, but that
Oh
seems
no, I
almost.
wasn't. No, I wasn't looking for the. I was just kind of
No,
a
absolutely.
general idea.
No, if you find the magical time, you tell me. I'd love to know.
Well, if I was the creative type, and
I
but
mean, I make more market research. When do people
yeah.
go on Kickstarter? You know.
So where can people go to check what you have out there already? Like, can they and I can include these links with the video, but
Yeah, sure.
what's the website? Are you in your social media contacts?
Yes, what you have right now is the following me on Kickstarter. That's important. If Monday you're at work and you forget, the Kickstarter goes live. If you follow me on Kickstarter, it'll notify you and say, "Hey, he went live. Now's the time." I just this morning posted that the first 48. First backers within the first 2 days, 48-hour window. We're also going to get a pinup poster, a small 11 by 14 pinup poster by a guest artist as it's an early bird backer incentive. So if you back any pledge tier, any reward tier within the first 48 hours, that's included. Afterwards, I'm not including it anymore. So it's the early backer special, if you will. And then a trial run. First and foremost, Atom Bug is a free online webcomic. So I'm fully transparent with my work, and obviously I want people to see it. Otherwise, I just don't see the point of doing it. So
Right.
atombug.com, ATOMBUG.com is a great starting point. Where you have issues 1 and 2 absolutely free to read. Issue 3 comes with the trade paperback and isn't going to be available for a while. Unless you buy the trade paperback. So like I said, going back to that earlier statement, it's a good starting point. You can read the first 2 issues to see if you like it. If you do, the trade paperback is a great print option that includes the new 3rd issue. And, eventually it's going to be on the website as well. But by that time, issue 4 is going to be around 5 and so forth. So ATOMBUG.com, atombug.com is the website. It's got everything on there you need, including a link to go to the Kickstarter as well. That goes live Monday.
Okay. So as we wrap up here, have you? I know you're in grad school, but have you been reading anything recently? Even though I don't know if you read new comics, or if not, then have you gone back to anything during this time you've revisited anything or found something that you hadn't had a chance to read? Or
I hate to say it, but on one hand, I tell you that I don't have the time to really look at other books. The most I've done is go on Kickstarter and back like-minded projects that I see that not only wouldn't be able to see on a store shelf, I probably wouldn't have time to even go to a local comic book shop. The ones that are surviving, the ones that are left, I wouldn't even have the time, much less probably find it. So if I see it on Kickstarter, I'll look through it and go, "This is fun. I would enjoy this." I could definitely see someone putting in the time and work that I know it takes to make something of this quality, and I'll happily back that. And it's typically a digital version, only because I live in a 1-1 apartment. It's a nice place, but I don't have shelves, shelf space for books, because comic books are like crack. If you buy one and you start getting the itch, then you go, "All right, well, I've broken the wall. What else is out there? What other comic books do I want to fill up my shelf with?" And that space goes very fast. So I've only got a limited amount of space in a tiny little studio apartment. Digital comics are better for me in that respect, although I do love the print medium more. I just don't have the space. So, but you'll see me go on Kickstarter, and I'll back several projects here and there. I know I've backed at least, I can't tell you how many, at least 20 digital versions of this, some print books of that. And that's really where I belong right now, is basically the indie niche comic scene. The big 2, I fell out of favor, and vice versa with them, I guess, in the 90s when storylines started really getting weird, anime started taking over. And I tried a little bit of the anime stuff, but I don't know. I guess I'm very, very specific. I'm picky. I know it.
No, that's fine. I mean, I don't know if you can name any, but are there any, Kickstarters that you think that
Yeah.
people would be interested
Well,
in?
the one that came to mind, the big one that came to mind, ended, but you can always still go to his website and purchase a book. I highly recommend this to everybody. He's one of my newer role models. His name is Matt Smith, and his book is Scurry, and it follows loosely the art style and playbook of the Rats of Nim, Mr. Frisbee and the Rats of Nim, Secret of Nim. So that's a great one because his artwork is amazing. They're all digital matte paintings. They're gorgeous, realistic paintings, and it's talent. So when I heard that he was doing a Kickstarter where I could own the books, same business model. I could go online and read all this for free, but having the actual book in hand with the concept art, the sketches, that was something that I just had to get hop on and be a part of. So I definitely back that, and I recommend it to everybody else. It's Scurry, Scurry.
Okay.
And yeah, so that's definitely one of the top ones. There's a couple of others out there. I can't think right now. I still have morning brain, if you know that expression. I think I need some more coffee myself. But yeah, going on Kickstarter definitely is the way to go for hot, fresh new titles where you really see creators put the passion into it because they're in control of their own brand, and that gives them the authority to care as much as possible. And it really helps, someone struggling right now who, can really depend on this to keep a story alive.
All right. Well, I'd like to, thank you for taking the time to talk with us, and good luck with your campaign. And if you ever want to come on again and talk about your project, any project that you're doing, then you're more than welcome to. Thanks for contacting me, and I'm glad you did because it looks like you have a really great product there, comic there. I've started. I haven't finished the first issue all the way. I've started reading the first one online, so
there is no deadline. It will be there for you online whenever you're ready.
Alrighty, well, yeah, I'll let you go. And again, good luck. Stay healthy and stay safe.
Fantastic. Likewise. Thanks a lot, Chef.
All right. Have a good day.
You as well.
All right.